I'm sure you all know who Paul Joseph Watson is. I hope that's not like a surprise to anyone. He's the InfowWars guy. Was on Alex Jones's show. He used to be a 9/11 truther. I think he's backtracked on that a little bit, maybe not. And all around douche. Imagine my shock. Yeah, he's I don't know. He makes a lot of those like anti-feminist videos. I think he had one where he's like, "Why has modern art become so terrible?" Yes,
Because it's modern art,
yeah.
dude.
I like modern art. Either way, he's
Yeah,
like,
well, you're wrong, so I don't know.
why is Miley Cyrus twerking on a stage? I don't like it. Very, very old man yelling at clouds energy coming from Paul Joseph Watson. But when I watch this guy, so if any of you have watched Paul Joseph Watson, I watched this dude. I don't even know who this dude is, so we're going to discover his name as I play the clip. But he gives me that vibe, a Paul Joseph Watson vibe. I mean, he is British, and I guess he was hired to be the British rebel, just like Abiy Yemeni, I guess, is the Australian rebel. And they used to have Tommy Robbins in this. I should say that Tommy Robbins was their UK correspondent, but he obviously has had some legal issues in the recent past, which has made their working relationship, I guess, a little strained. So I don't think Tommy Robbins is working for them anymore, or he's like laying low given all the arrests and prison time that he's had. Yes, tail spotted. She ran away. She was loud and aggressive though. I think Rachel distracted. But we're gonna watch this guy and let me know. I know nothing about him. This is literally the first thing he's done. So I could have reached a backstory or researched a backstory of who he is, where he came from, what he's done, but I didn't have time. So we're just gonna watch it fresh and see where it goes.
The news has been depressing, extremely depressing. So in this video, my goal is to show you that there is light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm going to go.
Does it not feel like Paul Joseph Watson? I know you watched it before, Elron.
Paul Joseph Watson? No, it really does. No, it's uncanny, honestly.
It's the delivery too. It's very.
The world is in terror now, and the whatever time we're in. And what has happened to all the males? Yeah, no, same thing. Same energy.
Oh, God.
Around some Western
Lewis
countries,
Brackpool.
and we're going to take a look at a few things and how we can beat this.
But he is. The difference is, the reason why I call him Discount Paul Joseph Watson is like the low energy, though. Like, Paul Joseph Watson is just at least a little bit more, like, animated. This guy, it, like, almost feels like he's going to put me to sleep. Or perhaps too much so, yeah.
It's the difference between the Rebel News budget and the InfowWars budget, clearly.
Yep.
And what we can use to beat this. So let's start with Canada. Canada has an election coming up, and that is on the 20th of September. So write that in your diaries. I may be from the UK, and I can't obviously participate in these elections, but from an outsider's point of view, the only party that is against mandates, the People's Party of Canada. The terms left and right don't mean anything anymore. Not when it comes to the COVID response. So any left...
I've been finding this a lot, actually, while doing canvassing, is that there's some people who are, like, supporting the PPC as, like, a single issue voter, as, like, well, they're the only ones who are against the mandate, and so therefore I'm voting for them. And I have to say, you're still a shitty person. Well, like, imagine, I was saying this to my wife yesterday. It would be like going, you know what? I'm gonna vote for Hitler. He might be he might be terrible, but I'm a single issue voting vegetarian, and he happens to be a vegetarian, so I'm gonna look past all the other terrible shit that he's doing and vote just because he's a vegetarian. So it's like,
yeah, that makes sense.
Now, I happen to think that voting in favor of a party because they're against the mandate is shitty in and of itself, and probably also will make you a bad person for being against it. But it is kind of wild that somebody might go, like, for example, I was canvassing with someone yesterday, and they said that their friend is a social justice advocate. It works in a department on campus involved in social justice, but is voting PPC because they're against mask mandates.
What?
So, like, no, know what I mean? Like, so you could just go trans rights, uh, immigration, all this stuff, racism. I'm gonna ignore all of those issues and just vote for the party who is against everything that I stand for, except for the fact that they're against mask mandates.
Well, they don't want to wear masks, Jody. What do you expect? It's the most important issue of all things.
It's you know, like it really like it's the way he frames it, where there's no left and right anymore on this policy. Like you can just vote for it. It's like no, you're voting for fascism, all because of one issue, which is just like your political your ability to think politically and critically and engage in politics is clearly warped at that level. If you can allow yourself to engage that way.
I mean, to be fair though, these are the same people that voted for Trump to own the libs. So, well, I mean, I guess you're Canada, but the same mindset. That mindset exists, is I guess what I mean. It's been 2 drinks to lay off me.
Yeah, no, well, yeah. No, but it is that kind of energy. It's just like, well, fuck you. How dare you mandate me? So therefore, I'm going to make other people's lives more miserable. Like, yeah, fucking terrible.
These that have stumbled across this haven't got your trust in Trudeau anymore because, yeah, he is a man-child. The PPC are the only party that opposes vaccine passports and mandates. That tall bloke, he's essentially a liberal. He's like what Boris is over here. He is a tool. So that's the first step for Canada. Moving.
I like that edit, honestly. That was pretty good. That was some YouTube shit.
There was, yeah, there's very like early YouTube energy on this. I mean, it's so low budget though. Like, you don't think you can have some better lighting on this, or just like? But anyways, I mean, he's not completely wrong with comparing Trudeau and O'Toole. I don't think that is like they're close enough. I still think in like if you're doing like nitty gritty degrees, I would prefer Trudeau over an O'Toole, of course. But yeah, O'Toole is a more liberal conservative, for whatever it's worth. Yeah, but now we get in America. He's gonna riff on your country now, all right?
Bring it, Britishy.
Moving on to the US. So, Biden recently announced that he wants to mandate vaccinations in the workforce for over 100 employees. And now, well over 27 states have refused this mandate. This is incredible news. These states include Idaho, Florida, Arizona, Texas, South Dakota, Arkansas, Georgia, Oklahoma, Alabama, Wyoming, Tennessee, Nebraska, Iowa, South Carolina, Missouri, Mississippi, and Alaska, and many more are coming out the woodwork to go against Biden's tyranny. This is great news. I believe only...
Do you feel like that's great news?
You know, I was very upset that he didn't do the song Alabama, Alaska, Arizona. That song? No? Okay.
I'm not.
I don't.
Is this something that you all sing to each other?
No, it's something. Okay, so when you're elementary school, you have 2 choices, right? You either teach kids the Pledge of Allegiance and say we're willing to die for the shitty flag, or you teach them the names of all the states in order alphabetically. And guess which one I learned? I'll give you a hint. It's the flag. No, I mean, like, if Biden wants a mask mandate for federal employees, sounds good, man.
Yeah, I don't even know if the states that are trying to reject it can even do it.
No, they can't. Yeah. I think that's the hilarious thing about it is they really can't. If you're a federal employee, even if you're working in a state, like federal employee, the federal rules oversee that. So there's nothing they can do.
A dude like Mutus said, and many more. You listed them all, bro.
And many more. Oh God.
And two cars. Manchild puts him closer to Paul Joseph Watson. Yeah, I mean the manchild energy for sure, for sure.
2 or 3 are Democrat states, so shows who's fighting for freedom, eh? Now going to the UK, in England primarily, the Telegraph, which is, well, we call it the Tory graph because it's a little bit centre-right over here in the UK. They've posted a bombshell article recently saying that teenage boys are more at risk from vaccines than COVID, and that are
more at risk. So it says to suffer from heart problems after being jabbed and then be hospitalized from coronavirus study finds. Now, it is worth mentioning here that what they're talking about is this I can't remember what the hell it's called again. Mitocarditis. Complicated medical term for basically
some science word that you don't know. Yeah.
And when you look into it, it's temporary. It goes away. So then you have to ask yourself, okay, some people are suffering from some like temporary thing that goes away, but then they'll have like long-term protection from COVID. Or do you go, let's risk it, not vaccinate any of them, and have them risk the actual thing, which is killing people, including children. Myocarditis. That's it. Thank you. And for example, I mean, like one of the talking points we get from them all the time is this isn't affecting young kids. A child under 10 years old died today in Waterloo, in Canada. So they're liars and completely full of shit. But I love how like they like him saying that like the framing of this that they're more at risk. It gives you this feeling like they're going to die, right? But they're not. No one has died from. At least I'm not aware of any deaths that happened due to myocarditis from the vaccine.
6 times more likely to suffer from heart problems from getting this vaccine. And this dismantles the jab plan for 12 to 15-year-olds. All the more, whilst the JCVI, Britain's...
Like, why does it dismantle the plan to get people older between 12 and 16 vaccinated? Just because they're at... Like, here's a good way to deal with that risk. Monitor them. And just make sure that they're safe and healthy. And then when it goes away over a short period of time, then they won't die from COVID.
Vaccine advisors have said they do not recommend vaccinating 12 to 15-year-olds, yet the government is pushing towards this direction anyway. There is a group called Together where you can sanction your local MP. In the About section on togetherdeclaration.org, it shows their main areas of concern, which include the vaccine passports, vaccinating children, the Coronavirus Act of 2020, medical freedom, mass testing, lockdowns, and the open debate. Furthermore, you can of course write to your local MP or join the next demonstration. I'll be covering a lot of the demonstrations coming up, so hopefully I'll see you there.
I do love, like, on the list of, like, things, what was it? It was, like, medical freedom, mass testing, lockdowns, we're against vaccine passports, all this stuff. Open debate. At the bottom of all these people are just debate bros. That's all it is. That's all it ever was. 6 times than normally, a very, very small number is still a small number. Yep. That's the other thing. 2 cars? Well said.
Recently, Boris Johnson and the Health Secretary has stated that they are scrapping the idea of a vaccine passport for now. They've also stated that the government should keep it in reserve as a potential option.
But you're not doing it?
Well, what I can say is that we've looked at it properly, and whilst we should keep it in reserve as a potential option, I'm pleased to say that we will not be going ahead with plans for vaccine passports.
You will.
What? That's weird messaging, is it not? It would be one thing if they're just like, we have it in reserve, and if we need to use it, we'll use it. But him being like, but we're pleased we're not using it. why would you be pleased you're not using it? If the reason why you're holding it in reserve is that you might need to use it.
Well, I feel like the subliminal message is, oh, it's not so bad that we have to, right?
I guess. Okay, so the pleased is in the state of the world right now.
Right. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we haven't reached it so badly. Okay, maybe. Still weird kind of framing. They're like, if we have to use it, we have to use it. That's all. Because the way he said it, it made it sound like he doesn't really want to have to use it. It's like, I don't know. I would rather people get vaccinated and stop killing people.
Will not be going ahead.
We will not be going ahead.
They've leveled up a little bit more of tyranny over here in the UK, where they're mandating NHS and care workers the vaccine, whilst the waiting list has hit.
Notice he's reading this whole time. Why would you do this?
I don't know.
Why would you do this?
Just rehearse a little bit, man. Come on.
Discount Paul Joseph Watson still staring.
A record high of 5.6 million people suffering without medical treatment. So yeah, it just makes sense just to fire them all because some workers are refusing to take the experimental jab. However, 120,000 unvaccinated medics are pushing back against this. And my advice would be, do not quit. Make them look into your eyes and fire you, because it will look 20 times worse than for you to just give up your job. So don't quit. Right, we're now going to move.
What, like?
These people are so fucking dumb. They're so fucking stupid. Make them look into your eyes and fire you. We will. We absolutely will. What are you talking about?
When you get to your construction site and your boss is like, wear that helmet, I want you to refuse and make them look into your eyes while they fire you. Like, what? Like, I wish people would, like, follow the logical thread and go, like, wouldn't this apply to any health and safety measures in the workplace? Like, have we not reached, like, I thought at least somewhat, other than, like, crazy fringe libertarians, I thought we all agreed that health and safety policies were a good thing. You know, like, I don't want to show up at work and think that my colleagues could be doing things inappropriately and exposing me to toxic chemicals, or like could injure me and me not be protected. You know, I like those things. I like having health and safety policies in place. I like not getting injured. I like not dying. So it's like, if you're a health worker and you're working with patients, get vaccinated. You already have to be vaccinated for everything else. Again, when I had to work in a daycare, I had to be vaccinated. Get over it.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, the whole outrage over, I have to get a vaccine. It's totally performative. It is 100% performative. Do you know what you have to do, like, every single year if you want to, like, work in healthcare? Most places have a mandatory flu vaccine. And you're upset about a COVID vaccine? Come on, dude. Come on, man.
Come on, man, because it's experimental.
Is it? Is it?
My jazz
I don't
hands?
like it. No, I don't
know,
have
I
you
know.
on the other screen. But is it, like, I don't know. It feels. I really like being vaccinated. It's pretty good.
I want to know, like, how. I mean, part of the grift is to say that, like, there could be long-term consequences. Because there's got to be a point when, like, they're sitting there and realizing that no one's dropping dead from the vaccine. For it to, like, you would hope that somewhere in their brain they'll be like, all these people I thought who were going to die after they got vaccinated are still living. Was I the baddie?
I think you hope they'll get there, but, like,
No,
at
I
the
know.
same time, like, I don't think they will. It's not to be rude to them. It's just that I don't.
We might pick off a few, you know, but, like, yeah, you're right.
Right. Well, like, I think if you do get them, it's going to be, like, over a long period of time, and they'll never admit this one thing to you, really, right? Like they'll waffle back and forth, like, oh, we weren't sure what was happening at the top. Blah,
No,
blah,
exactly.
blah, blah.
Yeah, they'll be like, well, there was evidence that I should have been a little concerned. That's why I waited 8 years before I got the COVID vaccine. Yeah, dear Lord. We're doomed. We're all doomed.
Move on to Scotland, and obviously we have this special banterous relationship with the Scots, us the English. They go on about, of course, Braveheart and freedom and all that, but it's not looking like.
Is it a bantering relationship? I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they're still angry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, the Scottish party that keeps wanting to separate keeps getting elected. Also, I just love this idea that he's quasi mocking them for their freedom stance, and yet also kind of saying, well, you support freedom, but now you're going to be pro-vaccine mandates. That's kind of what he's doing.
Yeah.
And it's I wonder why the Scottish people that want their freedom also want to be free from you spreading diseases.
Braveheart and freedom and all that, but it's not looking like the case at the minute, is it? So, keep those comments to yourself. Can hardly say you're free if you can't even say something mean to your partner at the
We've covered this on the podcast. This guy is Hamza Yusuf. I feel like he's a part of the Scottish government in some capacity, or one of their sitting MPs, I think. And he had said that he was basically saying some people are going to make hateful comments even at the dinner table, and you should stand up to that. But he also put it in terms of hate speech and advocating violence towards minorities, and how that might be something you should be willing to call out or even prosecute, depending on how extreme it gets. If the person is telling you at the dinner table, or if it's a family member telling you at the dinner table that they're basically planning to murder a bunch of racial group, maybe yes, report them. And yet it gets framed as this oh my god, he's telling you to rat out your family members and to spy on your dad at the dinner table and tell the police. I don't know. Maybe if your dad spewed a bunch of hateful shit, maybe, I don't know. You don't, as I've said before, you don't have to remain family members with shitty family.
No, you do.
Narc alert. Now I know to
Narc
never
alert,
touch
wow.
any of my plan. So hey, your plans will stay safe with me so long as they're not racist plans.
Can't plan genocide in my own home. This is bullshit.
Listen, the most punishment you'll get from me is what happened to Where We Go One We Go All earlier, when I went "Ba-doop" and just blocked him for everything. It's well, hey, no. Discussing revolutionary plans, let's do it.
dinner table without getting arrested. Kenya. There are going to be some new rules implemented after the 1st of October, where the ginger dwarf from the north has announced that people over the age of 18 in Scotland will need to show that they have had both doses of the vaccine.
You know what? If I'm attending an event like this, I would like everyone to have proof that they've been vaccinated. Just saying. Especially if they're not going to be wearing masks and they're going to be jumping around on each other in a room. I would like them all to be vaccinated, personally.
So that they have had both doses of the vaccine before they are allowed entry to nightclubs and adult entertainment venues, unseated indoor live events with more than 500 people in the audience, unseated outdoor live events with more than 4,000 people in the audience, any event of any nature which has more than 10,000 people in attendance. This goes against your freedom that you've been preaching to us for a long, long.
Do you think he would allow me to go nude in a crowd of 10,000 people?
I love that, like, these are these adult events, right? You know, like, you need an ID to get into half of those, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not like you can just walk in there. Like, you need some sort of identification that says you're good to come in here. Like, why is the COVID vaccine different? I know why it's different, but why is it different for you? Freedom isn't free.
There's so much like that I would be stopped from doing at a place, even if it wasn't like directly like harming someone. Like if I was in the venue just like screaming over and over again for no reason, I'm sure they would escort me out, you know? And I don't get to go, my choice! You know, it's a private venue. And I don't like, I just, it astonishes me how this line of thinking has convinced so many people. So many people who have attended venues before and shown ID, as you just said, but who work in a workplace where there's safety protocols, or who drive on a road where there's traffic laws. And not once did we hear any of these people complain about those freedoms being taken away from them. We all agreed, hey, we live in a society. Maybe it would be good if we have traffic laws in place so that we're not just driving into each other and killing each other. Maybe we should like slow down at red lights so that we're not just guessing who's gonna like drive through a light. And maybe like, you know, it's good that there's some restriction to being able to just drive on the sidewalk and hit pedestrians. Maybe that's good. Maybe we should stay on the road. And like, none of us on a daily basis, we're not having chit chats, we're not debating, we're not having arguments about our freedoms being taken away because we all agree, like, hey, we live in a society. Yet,
All right, Joker, chill out. Chill out, Joker.
Yeah, these assholes are like, I should be able to just throw my shit into the air. Like, literally crap in my hand and throw it in the air. And if it lands on other people, well, fuck, my body, my choice. Go fuck yourself.
You know, it's moments like these that really make me understand why Peter Thiel wants to enact Waterworld. Like, you know, like set up his own personal island, just invite his friends and live there. I kind of get it.
But Peter Thiel is himself a reaction to the fact that we have traffic laws. Like, it would be one thing if Peter Thiel wanted to escape from society because he's like, I want you all to engage in some sort of like civil behavior. But instead, he's like, no, I need to start my own going John Galt, Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged thing because you won't let me lower the age of consent or whatever the fuck libertarians want to do all the time, you know? It's I hate these people. I hate them so much.
Well,
Carding for alcohol is tyranny. Carding for alcohol is tyranny. Everything's tyranny. When I go to the gas station and I was filling up my car with gas and I wanted to reach into my pocket and check my cell phone, but I saw on the pillar there was like a do not use cell phone sign and immediately thought that I was in Hitler Germany at that moment. It was literally 1984 in that moment, you know. Shameful. Shameful.
Long time. Can we get back to bantering each other about that now? Moving on to Northern Ireland, the BBC done an article spread saying that they are only going to be using a vaccine passport for over.
I will say too, the funny thing about the cell phone, and it's ironic that a cell phone just popped up, but the funny thing about a cell phone at a gas station is I don't think there is actual any like likelihood that a cell phone would set a gas station on fire or stuff like that. I think the like number one cause of like gas station fires is people getting in and out of their vehicle while pumping gas because it creates static electricity, and then when they touch the handle, it goes on. Fun facts with Jody.
Yeah.
Overseas travel. But in the same spread, they showed some young person, I don't know who she is, saying that she does not want to miss out even more on university life. Because it's not all about partying, but for her final year, after having missing out on that social experience during the pandemic, she does not want to miss out any further because the vaccine passport app is only for travel. So this poor girl thinks that if they use the vaccine passport, it's going to suddenly grant her social interaction all over again, which obviously, as we know, is absolute nonsense. So,
What the fuck is he talking about? I tried so hard to follow that, and it sounds to me like what she's saying is if there's a vaccine passport, I can do the things I used to do before without worrying about getting infected again. And he's saying, no, you won't. It's only for traveling. Yet if the vaccine passport that they're normally talking about is the things like you can enter clubs, you can do other things. I mean, it's Ireland. Maybe it's a little different. But like, yeah, wouldn't she want to have passports so that she can feel safe going into these places and party? I don't know. She could go to bars and pubs and concerts with a vaccine passport? One would hope. Or what's the point? I also love this idea that somehow, like, the vaccinated are the ones complaining. Like, oh, this poor vaccinated person doesn't feel safe being around unvaccinated people at a concert. Oh, what are you gonna do? Complain about it? Meanwhile, they're like protesting outside of hospitals and shit like that because they're like, masks cause cancer. Ah! I'll let you know too. I've said this story like, so I'm not going to repeat myself too much. But like, I had like people while I was canvassing yelling at me because my party is in favor of vaccine mandates and like called me anti-freedom and said that I was ruining their university education because the university, which was not mandated to have a vaccine policy, put in place their own vaccine policy, which now is preventing her from going to university by her refusing to get vaccinated. But it's we're the complainers. We are.
Northern Islanders, make sure you don't copy what's going on. All right. Moving on to France. I think they're on the 8th or even the 9th week of protesting. So they're really leading the way on this one. And Macron is really ramping up the tyranny over in France. Is that all tourists need to prove that they have been vaccinated against COVID-19.
Yeah.
Makes sense, yeah.
You're required to get vaccines if you go to different places. That already exists, right? I'm pretty sure if I wanted to go to Cuba, I have to make sure that I have like my hepatitis vaccines and stuff like that. I mean, you can't go to Cuba, so you wouldn't even.
I mean, no, they wouldn't want me there. I don't think they allow my people there. They're pretty against us, I think. They might like you, not me.
Well, I mean, Castro is Justin Trudeau's father. So.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Have you seen that meme?
I have. No, I have, yeah. It's really good. I like it.
I also love what like the libs come out of the woodwork with that one, saying like the use of that meme is sexist because somehow it like denigrates Trudeau's mother by saying she had an affair with Castro or something. But I'm like, if anything, that's like based. I mean, I'd cheat on Pierre with Castro. Why not? Do it up.
All right. Let's move on.
Or provide a negative COVID-19 test result carried within 48 hours in order to be permitted to access these following places: cafes, restaurants, bars, hospitals, several shopping centres that are over 20,000 metres square long-haul transport, including trains and planes, museums, theatres, cinemas, sports events, amusement parks, zoos, libraries, communal spaces in hotels, including swimming pools, events held at worship places, and even weddings held in public areas. Keep up the fight, because we think it's absolutely fantastic. The amount of...
That was for tourists. Yeah, okay. Make sure your tourists are vaccinated. Oh my god. Whiny people. Really is. But as we said already, man-child vibes here. Definite man-child vibes.
People that have taken to the streets in France is fantastic. So keep doing it. Apply more pressure. And now, potentially, the craziest one of them all. And that is...
Can't go to the hospital if not vaccinated? Seems a bit weird. Yeah, that one does... Out of all of them, that's the one that sounds the most weird to me. But it's at the same time, it's like maybe... the purpose is to discourage people from entering the country in the first place. And maybe they're worried that, like, you know, you get into the country, you didn't vaccinate, and now you're just going to walk into a hospital where we have a lot of people in precarious positions, and you're walking around there with your COVID or whatever. So, I don't know. I don't know what the thinking is. I mean, it's Macron. I don't, you know, he sucks. And I don't know. I mean, the hard thing with talking about France is, like, when you hear people like this talking about it, it's the same thing when it happened with the yellow vest stuff. They would report on it in terms of, like, these people are protesting, they're super right-wing when they're doing it because it's anti-elite, and, like, they try to co-opt it. But, like, if you actually read, like, news sources from France, like, it was, for the most part, like a left-wing movement. It was a labor fight. So I don't know. I don't know what's happening with the vaccine stuff. You know, I've got enough on my own plate rather than to follow along with French politics out of France.
Australia. I mean, they've even used language such as the New World Order.
We will be looking at what contact tracing looks like in the New World Order. And yes, it will be pubs and clubs and other things if we have a positive case there.
Yeah, not...
Oh, I'm some random Australian. I used a word that's in a conspiracy theory, and then a dingo ate my baby. Oh my god.
That's racist. Everything about that was racist. That was the... You know what's worse is the fact that you didn't do it for... I am. I said it. There's been too much genetic isolation and too much interbreeding. They've become their own thing. But, like, you didn't do it for fucking... What's a derogatory term for the British?
Because my issue is my British and Australian accents will just converge. I can't.
It's exactly the same. Yeah, but that's my point. You did it for the Australian, but you didn't do it for the colonizer. And I have to assume that means you're on the side of the colonist.
I think I tried. I think near the beginning I tried to do a really bad Paul Joseph Watson impression, and I realized I was failing and just bailed. So.
The problem with you Canadians is you're still so tied to the Queen that you refuse to acknowledge the atrocious accent of the British.
No, it's atrocious. I had more like down like the posh, like the ones that talks like hello love, like that kind of stuff. But...
Is that posh? I don't know if that's posh. I don't know if that's the posh one.
No, well, I don't know.
Oh no, fancy a shag? No, I don't think it's the posh one.
You put a spin on it that was a little bit more like a lower class.
No, I think no. I heard that.
Didn't do it.
That was you.
I was trying to be like, hello, love.
I'm just repeating what he's saying, all right? That's all I hear.
Oh, my God. Where's Nick when we need him? This is the quintessential Nick content we needed. He's not even here right now. Oh, my God.
Not good. So let me get this straight. So we send over prisoners.
Oh.
And then prisoners build another prison to keep themselves imprisoned.
All right. Well, I think he just out-racist you very quickly. Jesus Christ.
Don't all these places have prisons? understand.
No. Australia is still a prison colony. All the Western world sends their prisoners to Australia.
Like he's making it about like the COVID buildings here, clearly, but like look, the words he said could apply to like prisons.
And then prisoners build another prison to keep themselves imprisoned.
Couldn't that just apply to?
I feel like you're focusing on the wrong thing. I feel like you're definitely focusing on the wrong thing. See, the real thing is the smugness of this face, thinking that this is a good joke. That's the real problem here.
And it's also the fact of like him thinking like, isn't it good that we sent all our prisoners there? We're the British.
Fuck the British, honestly.
Yes,
worst
fuck the
idea
British,
2021.
Right. I mean, watching the coverage of the tyranny unfolding in Australia has been quite shocking. And seeing colleagues like Avi and Mario and many others covering what's going on over in Sydney, Melbourne and other places as well within Australia, it's been quite insane. So hats off to them for doing a great job in trying to cover that. I recommend reading an article by the New York Post titled "Australia's Insane COVID Rules Are a Warning to the Rest of the Free World." So the state of South Australia...
I love it. I'm going to recommend you read an article. It's an opinion article. It's not a scientific article. It's not a researched article. It's just what some guy thinks.
Beautiful. The New York Post.
In the New York Post.
You know, the ones who published the Hunter Biden laptop story that nobody wanted to put their names to it.
Yeah, this is what you should read. Don't go read anything researched or any shit like that.
Oh no. God, listen to like the opening like salvo here. The 18th century English philosopher Jeremy Bentham came up with the idea of the panopticon. A prison designed to allow all the prisoners to be observed by one god.
I swear to God, it's all of these are is just like undergraduate, like second year college essays. Since the dawn of time, men have postulated. Fucking assholes.
And
it's all the fucking same.
No, it is. Oh God. And it's worth reminding. I mean, they're having a peak right now, but like, look at how well Australia has done with the COVID so far. You know, maybe Rebel should shut the fuck up.
So the state of South Australia has developed an app to enforce home quarantine. As a news report explains, the app will contact people at random, asking them to provide proof of their location within 15 minutes. If they fail to do so, the health department will notify the police. That's the level we're at now.
Yeah, because you're supposed to be quarantined.
Where do I sign up? I am in for that.
Yeah, but that sounds bad if you're thinking it's just like you're like, I don't know, you're at the store and you're not infected. But it's literally for people who are supposed to be quarantining. And so it's like, it's going, hey, did you quarantine? And the person goes, no, fuck it. I hate rules. Like, imagine if they did that for anything else. They would say, like for example, I don't know, showing up for a court hearing. Do you think they would be like, that's tyranny? The government tells you to be somewhere, and then you don't show up and you get arrested? Tyranny. Yet they never do that when it comes to other legal stuff. Masses United tried to raid you, but it didn't work at all? Why didn't it work? What's happening with Twitch? Is it, like, broken? Super weird. There could be something going on that's weird, though. I had 2 people hosting me earlier, so the raid should work. I don't know. But welcome, Bud Rhino. Just said raid failed. It was weird. That is weird. Interesting. Hope everything's fine.
Department will notify the police. That's the level we're at now. in Australia. That's mental. They've also set up COVID quarantine camps. History is definitely rhyming. I recently
Rhyming with what? Rhyming with what?
Rhyming. It's rhyming right now.
Like, if you want to make
It's
a Holocaust
spitting
comparison,
bars.
just fucking do it. Commit to the bit. Don't hide like a...
It's spitting bars. It's spitting.
Yeah.
Going up.
It's rhyming because
Christ.
they used to have, like, polio tents. Like, I don't...
recently read that a man was recently arrested for wearing a mask outside in the street. And then he had a seizure whilst he was being arrested. I've also read that residents also
Wait, oh my god, wait.
While
video shows man without mask having a seizure in Brisbane Botanical Gardens after arrest. Okay, maybe he should have been wearing a mask. I mean, granted, like, fuck the police, and maybe they should have helped the person who was having a seizure. But, like, at the same time, if wear a mask going in the botanical gardens, why wasn't he wearing a mask?
whilst he was being arrested. I've also read that residents in a particular apartment block, locked down by NSW Health, are having their alcohol deliveries policed as part of a policy to limit the number of drinks being consumed each day. We cannot afford to go like Australia, and I want to give a big shout out.
Are they really? What's the New South Wales Health limits residents of lockdown Tower Block to 6 beers per day. Residents in Sydney Tower Block under a strict coronavirus lockdown are having their alcohol deliveries policed. I gotta look this up. This sounds so weird to me. Let's see if I can find anything on it. Sydney alcohol policed. Let's see what I can get pulled up here. Oh my god, my internet's getting a little slow here. Boop, 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 boop. New fed up residents locked down in Sydney Tower Block have. Okay, it's Daily Mail. It's probably shit, but let's just take a glance at it, see if we can find something here. When did boozing start giving you COVID? Tower Block residents fume as health officials and cops confiscate their beers and smokes, only allowing them to have 1 6-pack a day. Common Ground in Camperdown, a housing commission building in Sydney's inner west, is the latest building to fall under a full lockdown after several cases were reported in the complex, with locals complaining about the extraordinary denial of freedoms. Okay. So you have a bunch of people sending out tweets here, I guess. Hey, New South Wales Police Common Ground residents are wondering what happened to the alcohol and tobacco items dropped off to them last night, and under which powers are you allowed to confiscate them? Last time I checked, these are illegal to consume in this country. One Nation MP Mark Latham was outraged by the booze limit and the intrusion of health measures into the people's legal rights. Is there any limit to the fascist tendencies? Okay, yeah. I just want to know what the justification for the policy was, or if the policy is even real. Okay, it says health officials say the measures are for the residents' own good and that of their neighbors. In all residential lockdown locations, New South Wales Police are there to ensure compliance with public health orders and to assist New South Wales Health if required. A member of our community has delivered multiple hampers of fresh food, alcohol, and cigarettes, however. This article sucks. Like, it would be nice if it explains, like, why they think it's good for health. Like, maybe it would be, maybe, like, the only thing I can think of is maybe it has to do with, like, domestic violence, and that if people are quarantining, they don't want them to be drinking alcohol and causing some sort of, like, something like that. I don't know. I don't trust really the Daily Mail to give me an answer in that, but I have a feeling that this is going to be predominantly one of those stories that the right wing just goes with, and I'll have to like scan through a whole bunch of shit before I hit on something that gives me a little bit more information. I'm not going to, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not quarantining right now, but I enjoy my alcohol, so yeah, maybe this is the one. This is where it goes too far. Okay. Oh no. Oh no. Far right wing Jody.
As part of a
Are you gonna say something? I thought I heard you. It might have just been him coming back in.
policy to limit the number of drinks being consumed each day. We cannot afford to go like Australia. And I want to give a big shout out to, of course, the colleagues over at Rebel News that are doing an amazing job covering what is going on in Australia. That's Avi and Mario as well. I really do feel for the people of Australia that are just going through this absolute nonsense. I mean, that's not where we want to be. So what are you going to do as a citizen of your country? Are you just going to let people walk all over you? Are you just going to hand over your rights to your government? I thought the government worked for the people, not the other way around. So let me tell you, if you haven't already, you should be resisting. And it's time to start resisting if you haven't. Are you still going to remain complicit through this? What have they said to you? Oh, it's just an app. Oh, it's just a jab. It's only 3 weeks to flatten the curve. It's only a lockdown. Oh, it's only another lockdown. Oh no, Christmas is cancelled. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You'll get Christmas next year. It's just...
Oh, it's just a traffic law. Oh, it's just a housing code. Oh, it's just a health and safety practice. And then all of a sudden, you show up to work and you're mandated to wear steel-toed boots. Just like in World War II. World War II all over again.
A vaccine passport. It's not anything else nefarious. It's just halting your travel. It's just to reduce the transmission by stopping you from speaking to your neighbours, from going to the shop, from going to a football match, from going to the cinema, from seeing your friends, from seeing your family, from going to a funeral, to going to a wedding, to
from taking a shit on your roof. Some of these things are so stupid. There is nothing preventing you from talking to your family. Like, what does he think is happening? Like, I can't call up my mom, be like, "Hi, Mom," or I can't wear a cloth mask and like shout and be like, "Hey, heyo." Just no talking has been completely banned. There's absolutely no more talking.
see your child be born. Only we, the people,
what was that?
can end the going to a wedding to see your child be born.
I mean, one of the parent will definitely get to see it be born. One of them will. For sure. They can't not be there, right? But I mean, I guess the other parent, like, I don't know. I guess it depends where and what their like protocols are, and maybe it isn't safe. And if it's not safe, I'll tell you this. I enjoyed being there for the birth of both my children. Okay? It was, all the things I say, moving, touching, all that. But if it was like a health risk to them, I would rather they be safe. And I would rather the staff be safe and my spouse be safe. Like, should it be like, screw everyone? I really want to do something, so I should have the right to do it, even if it puts everyone else at risk. Which has really been this whole piece, right? This whole piece has been like, I want mine. I want to do what I want to do. And if there's any policy put in place that prevents me from doing what I want to do, it's tyranny. Even though it's like, maybe we should have things put in place that prevent you from doing harm to other people.
Only we, the people, can end this tyranny by saying enough is enough. Attend the next protest. Write to your MP. Pressure your MP. Because remember, the government works for you, the citizen, not the other way around.
And what if, like, all the citizens are contacting the MPs to be like, you know what? We like this idea of a vaccine mandate. In fact, it's widely popular. And just because you bunch of jackoffs, like the 40 people that'll hang out at a hospital in town, you think that the government should just bend for you when everyone else thinks you're a fucking idiot. I don't like this guy. Discount Paul Joseph Watson can go to hell. I don't even remember what his name is.
Hello, my rebels. Hello, my rebels. I'm a good boy. I'm a weirdo.